I do want to give a huge shout out to Alex Cuervo, who did the music for the film, because as a composer, he nailed every genre. Did we just lose Matt? I think we did.
He'll be right back. Bye.
Okay. Um, yeah, he nailed every genre of horror music from the 80s. The story I was telling earlier is that first clip, second segment actually, One Time in the Woods, was done by Chris McEnroy, who's an award-winning short film horror maker who specializes in over-the-top gore horror films. He just won a lot of awards last year for his latest short film, which I believe you can find online. It's called Guts, and Jeremy King is actually one of the stars of that one. They met during, obviously Jeremy wasn't in the scene in this movie, but they met during the publicity and stuff and hit it off. They like I said, it's such a brilliant parody, but not insulting parody of every genre of 80s horrors. You can tell it's a loving tribute to all of them. Welcome back, Matt. Matt raised the question before they.
Hey guys,
I'm
sorry about that.
Yep. Matt said his favorite segment was One Time in the Woods. Nick, Ray, Jody, do you have a favorite segment that you saw tonight?
The Freddy car. That's right away I noticed. The Freddy Krueger car.
Yes.
That's an awesome reference. I love that.
Yeah.
The makers of this film, Aaron Kuntz, who's the writer director, and Cameron Burns, the writer producer, are so in love with horror and the horror genre that so many jokes are thrown in like that. And like I said, it's easy to make fun of horror. In fact, a lot of the horror parody anthologies really are thumbing their nose and making fun of horror. This one doesn't do this. This one is never making fun of horror. It's really a loving tribute. You could feel the affection from the filmmakers that they really love what they're doing. They're not mocking horror. They're, celebrating it. And that's what I really love about this film.
You can hear that when they talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, you can hear that they're very passionate and they wanted to pay homage to film, and they're poking fun, but they're also themselves, they're diehard fans. They're diehard horror fanatics, like all of us.
The other thing I think is really cool, we talked about this last night, is that the girls' night out of the body segment is such a perfect giallo film. It's got the gloved man who you don't see, you just see from his perspective, but he's got a knife and gloves. The camera angles that are all from the ceiling looking down. The what else would I say? The garish colors. Everything about it was so perfect, and it's
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a genre of film a lot of people don't know. So for them to parody that and do it so perfectly, I can't remember the woman's name who made that segment, but it is brilliant.
Commentary. I wish my mind was coming, because they talked about the Gallo. The Gallo-esque to that particular skit in the commentary. Yeah, I wish that I was better with names, but I swear to God, they did say her name during the commentary. I just can't recall it myself.
Yeah, I can't either, and I'm gonna
Google it.
For that. Yeah.
What's the name of the skit again? Can you give me the name?
Girls' Night Out of the Body.
A Girl's Night Out of the Body. Not out of the body.
Jody, what did you think of the film?
I liked it, and I liked a lot of the tongue-in-cheek aspects of things. Sadly, I had to step out for about 10 minutes, and because I was doing some pre-reading, which is scary as usual, and I missed
Courtney and Ajar.
There you go.
something I couldn't say.
That's
But
brilliant.
but I missed the spot doing the homage to Johnny Depp.
I love that, man. I didn't catch it the first time around. I was like, that's Glenn's shirt. And then he's got the headset too. Like it's all complete. That's so awesome.
Yep.
No, I really hate that, the Chattanooga Film Festival didn't come through the way I hoped it would, getting some of the people from there. But there was a woman who was actually an extra in Scare Package 2, and she was busy tonight, but she loves the films to the point that she made a Scare Package fan club t-shirt.
I know who she is.
You do?
Yep, I do.
Is her
I
name
know
Sarah?
her. Yep, I know her.
Yep.
We're friends.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool.
The running joke with everybody involved with the film that it's me and her are the two biggest Scare Package fans in the world. That we compete for the title, because I've done I think 6 or 7 shows promoting Scare Package, interviews with actors, directors, producers. I've had them all on my show. I've given away over 30 copies of each Blu-ray that I bought out of my own pocket, would send to people all over the world that I know that were horror fans.
Right.
Yeah, so I bought 60 copies of the movie myself.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I promoted it everywhere. I talked about it incessantly since the day it came out. It's the film that got me out of depression. It was when COVID lockdown hit and I was going through some serious depression, and this is the film that got me out of my depression and made me happy again.
Wow.
And it really does that. Now, I don't know where oh boy, who just showed up? Jeremy King. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rad Chad Buckley, Jeremy King. Jeremy, how are you?
I am doing lovely. I just went to a birthday party.
Oh shit! What's up, Jeremy?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. How about you?
I cannot complain because no one listens.
Well, you usually complain when you're on the same.
Well, I complain when I have to hang out with Brian. So,
but not my mom.
I guess I would complain. I never complain when I'm with Brian's mom.
You know what I did bring, Jeremy?
Oh boy!
Oh my God! You weren't lying, dude. You were serious. I thought you were full of shit. But
my Rad Chad snuggle pillow.
Oh man, I love it.
Well, he is usually full of shit, but
there it is, the infamous Rad Chad snuggle pillow.
You gotta love it.
My mom says hi, by the way. She says she misses you, darling.
Tell your mom I miss her more.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Jeremy at one point apparently lived with my mother, I found out when he was a guest on my show one
just
time.
for a brief period. Yeah, I was going through some stuff and she let me crash with her.
Yeah. Does that mean he's your daddy?
In a sense. I mean, someone called him daddy. I don't know if
stepdad.
It was me.
We have to go with stepdad on that one, I think.
So how is Jeremy doing today? I mean, everybody, Jeremy is also a new father for the third time recently. If you're wondering
congratulations, man.
How Rad Chad, if Rad Chad ever got laid, yes, he has 3 children, and
that's why I look so tired all the time.
And how old is your daughter now?
4 months.
4 months old.
4 months. Yay! Good job, me.
It's at the stage now where she actually probably knows how to clap, or is trying.
She's getting there. She's getting there.
You don't think Jeremy would not teach his daughter to applaud him?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the best thing about kids is they're like a built-in audience.
Well, not necessarily. And
when they're younger, at least.
I want to point this out before Byron gets here, because as you know, when Byron gets here, he's the funniest man on the planet. So,
wow.
He,
I agree, but it still hurts.
I agree. Please tell people that they're not always the best built-in audience because and there's Cleocatra. Hi, Cleo. Tell them about how old your son was Or was it your daughter, your oldest daughter, that you showed Scare Package to? Oh, your daughter, yeah.
Yeah, I think my daughter was, well, I was showing it to my son who was 9 at the time, and I didn't realize my daughter was also watching it. She was like 4, and I mean, she was just terrified in the point at which I got my face punched through by the Devil's Lake Impaler. She was like freaked out. She's like, "Daddy, punch you through the face." I'm like, "Babe, it's a movie. Like, I'm obviously I'm okay. I've recovered." But yeah, it freaked her out.
And
She was not very happy about that one.
she is now, though.
Yeah, she actually watched the first episode of Rad Chad's Horror Emporium presents Rad Chad's Rad Recommendations,
which everyone should check out on YouTube. The new
Yes.
Rad Chad's Rad Recommendations.
It's on the Paper Street Pictures
man.
YouTube page. And she watched Squirt Reynolds, and she was super scared of it at first. And then the next day, she's like, "That movie's scary, Daddy, but I want to watch it again."
Good girl.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Brian, before you continue,
we're developing a little horror fan. Yeah.
nice.
That's awesome.
Before we go ahead and continue this love fest between Brian and Jeremy, I just want to mention if anybody has questions as well, let us know in the chat and we'll bring you up as well.
And I may or may not answer them.
We'll try to be semi-organized.
Yeah, Jeremy, are we having a love fest?
I mean, you do have a throw pillow with Rad Chad's face on it, so. And I do love your mom, so I guess it is a love fest.
That would be a love fest.
That is officially a love fest.
It's iron. Remember, it's not as wrinkled and crusted as the last time you saw it.
Dedication, man. That's like when you were talking about that pillow, I was like, he's joking, but like that's awesome. It really is awesome.
Is it? Sometimes I think it's awesome, and sometimes I'm like, it's a little scary. Like if Brian lived closer, I think I'd be concerned.
I say the same thing, that if you lived closer, Sarah would be concerned. If you
although I think that would explain half of the swamp ape sightings in Florida.
It would,
down here.
And if you,
it's just Brian taking a shortcut through the woods.
You have to, because I'm old and crippled. I'll take the shortest cut I can get. Dude, I walk with a cane now. Do you believe that?
I guess I do, since you told me you do.
Yeah,
I just learned this last month or last night.
Only when I know I'm going to be walking more than like 10 feet.
Is it like a sweet cane that's like super nice and it's got like a duck head on the top?
Oh, fuck no. It's one I bought on Temu. It's like $350,
Package yourself. If you're going to walk with a cane, man, you got to pimp it out.
Well, I'm thinking of getting a good pimping cane. Once I get, good with the cane, like I know that, yeah, this is helping. I need knee replacement, folks. It's not that I'm lazy. I'm just waiting to have my knees replaced. So in the meantime, I'm walking with a cane. And if I'm digging the cane, I'm going to go get full like Larry Talbot Wolfman cane.
I could give you a guy's phone number if you like. He's from Vegas. May have been a GM of Cheetahs. I think he had a nickname of the Godfather. I could be wrong.
That would be a pimped out cane. Where the hell is Byron?
What a jerk.
I know.
It's like that Han Tran guy.
Yeah. For those of you who, everybody here is horror fans. They love horror films. Han Tran, who played Han Tran, was the star of the cult classic, was it Santa Jaws?
Santa Jaws.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, the movie about the
I really love Han and Santa Jaws. And actually my kids were huge fans of Santa Jaws. We'll probably watch it again this Christmas.
And it's Han.
I'm looking this film up right now. I'm checking it out.
It's awesome. You got to watch it.
It is classic low budget horror comedy. And Han Tran, if you thought he was even slightly adorable in this film, in Santa Jaws, he might be like just the most adorable creature that ever walked.
Well, I think he plays a high school kid.
He does, and he's like 72 years old,
He's
right?
clean shaven. Yeah, I think he's 70. He's 74 this year, actually.
So 74 this year,
But he looks young. He looks really young.
and he's brutal guy.
Oh, he's the worst person I've ever worked with. Just he's a bully. He'll pick on
Oh
you.
no.
He'll just walk by and kick you in the shins just to make you cry.
Tell him what he did to craft services.
Well, he used to eat up all the crafty before we got there and then just laugh at us. Yeah, he was really mean. I wouldn't recommend working with him.
And he's tough. He'll smack you around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you get a line wrong, he'll slap you in the face.
I am texting, but well, now we'll give Byron a minute. We'll just make fun of him when he gets.
I'll text him. I'll text him.
Yeah.
I'll see what he's doing. How's everyone else doing? Who is everyone else? I saw a couple people pop up.
Well,
Who do we have here tonight?
I'm Jonathan. Somebody said, and rumor has it, I run this whole kit and caboodle, or kit and caboodle. I don't know who said that and started that shit, but I figured I'm letting Brian take the lead since this is his love project. He was speaking nothing but great things about part one and part two, and
We
said,
pay him. We pay him for that.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
You
And
gotta have these guys the whole bit. Brian, do you want to tell it?
Great meeting you, John.
well,
Glad to be with Crazy Train Radio.
Yes, sir.
right. And I've told Jeremy this before, but for everybody in the room, that this was the film that got me out of the COVID funk when everything shut down and everything went nuts, and I was in deep depression because I suffer from depression anyway. Because who wouldn't if they were me? That it was this film that got me out of the funk and depression, and I instantly said, I am going to tell every horror fan in the world that I know about this film. And as Jeremy knows, I went out and I bought like 30 copies of the DVD, and we're sending it out to people all over the place to telling
But
them
he
they
only
got to
had
watch
one
this
pillow
film.
made and he's not sharing it.
I had one. There is but one pillow. There may be another pillow coming up soon.
You got to get a Han pillow.
Well, there might be a Sam pillow
But
coming
it has
up.
to have rocks in it because Han's a really mean guy.
So, did I tell you? But the last time you and Byron were on my show together, that the one listener of our show, the one that designed our logo and everything, Misha.
Your mom.
Not my mom. My mom would not have done as good a job because she hates me. Misha Malcolm, who might be listening right now, so if she is, hi Misha. She's the one that wrote in that said, Byron Brown as Sam is the ultimate and epitome of nerd sexy. So he's got that going for him. He is nerd sexy.
I agree. I totally agree.
Did you steal that line, Brian, from Bill Murray and Caddyshack? So he's got that going for him, which is nice.
He's got that going for him, which is nice.
Which is, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, heavy hitter, Llama.
Byron thought it was 7 p.m. Central. He's trying to get on right now.
I kept telling him 7 p.m. Eastern. The world does not revolve around Byron. We're going to have to tell him.
I got the message loud and clear. So
yeah,
I don't know what his problem is.
and in case you're all wondering, it is not the same Byron Brown who is the longtime mayor of Buffalo, New York.
Although he plans to be future mayor of Buffalo, New York, correct?
I have actually pitched to Mayor Byron Brown doing a little short film comedy segment with that Byron Brown about both Byron Browns running for mayor.
How did that go?
I think it would be, he's going through some troubles right now. Let's just say that
oh boy,
there's a lot of corruption scandals going on in the mayor's office right now.
Is this, would you say this is like the stories we heard several years ago about a Toronto mayor?
No, there is no crack cocaine.
That's a shame.
There is just, allegedly, there was some, pay for play. Allegedly, there were some kickbacks.
That's probably
Allegedly,
everywhere, though. I can't imagine that it doesn't happen everywhere.
exactly.
It almost sounds like Senator Menendez in Jersey.
Well, it happens everywhere. It's just, there's a lot of people in Western New York who are mad that the black guy's been mayor for so long. So they're going after him. And that's
the political segment is brought to you by
which but brought to you by Byron Brown. Because that's another way you can tell that it's not the same Byron Brown. They look absolutely nothing alike.
A little bit in the eyes.
Yeah, they got the same ass, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it.
I'll start with a movie question. Before Byron gets here, I was gonna wait for both of you to be here to start talking the film. But for our people in the room, Jeremy.
Me too. I have a question, but it's like for both of them, so it's almost like it makes more sense to kind of wait,
Yeah, we'll wait for the Byron for yours. But mine is, how did you feel when you saw the first cut that they used your ass to parody the Texas Chainsaw Massacre scene?
Did you know I actually came up with that?
It doesn't surprise.
That is awesome. I didn't even hear that on the audio commentary.
Yeah. We were getting ready to shoot that scene. I go, dude. No. I go, what if when I get out of the car, because they were talking about their setup for getting out of the car, and I go, what if we follow my butt inside, like every 80s freaking horror movie, except for it's usually a chick. But that was my idea.
Now, are you as big of a horror aficionado as your character, Rad Chad?
I can't say I'm quite as big of an aficionado as Rad Chad is. I love horror movies. I've watched them all my life. I've watched a million of them, but I'm not one of those people like will memorize every single person that's in the movie. I will not memorize. I will not have like the diagrams drawn of the connections between all the different movies they've been in and who's been in them with them and who else has been in.
Right. Yeah, I totally.
I'm a lover of horror, less of an aficionado.
I totally get what you're saying.
Is that Byron over there?
My God, is it? Are you in witness protection? Byron, can you hear us?
I didn't kick him out, folks. That wasn't me.
It's got to be his connection, hopefully.
That was hilarious. Either way.
And that was Byron Brown, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Brown, the elusive Byron Brown. Apparently
Byron Brown
stole someone else's phone. Because
it's so funny with the scare package movies because Aaron Kuntz and Cameron Burns, they really do have an encyclopedic knowledge of every horror movie. So every single reference is meant to be there. If you really dissect the first and second movies, like almost every line is a reference to another horror movie or a reference to a horror movie. So it's unbelievable because sometimes I would be like, why am I saying this? And well, in the third film of this series, this was said between the cashier and the girl that was shopping before she got murdered. And oh, okay.
I'll throw out a serious question before I let Brian continue. I'm curious to know, since you bring up about the references and stuff for both films, who made the final call what references to use and what not to use?
That's a good question.
I would think early in the script, it was definitely Aaron and Cameron. And then, on the cut for the cutting room, it would probably be Aaron mostly, and Alex, the editor that edits most of the Paper Street stuff, to see what's stuck in there. But I would say mainly Aaron and Cameron, 100%. And then a lot of our scenes were improv. It would just happen naturally where we just absolutely go off the rails. So there was some stuff in there that, I threw in there, that Byron threw in there. In fact, the Yeah. God, what is it's
Do you know what a Goldie Hawn
oh,
is?
Goldie Hawn, yes. That was all
That was
Byron.
cracking
And
me
it was
up.
like I was behind the camera at that point. I was just watching because when Byron had scenes to film, I would just watch because
So,
it was
oh,
so
that
funny.
was
And
actually improvised.
yeah. So
Oh
I'm
man,
behind
that's
the camera. I
awesome.
think I ruined the first two takes that he actually did that because like the first time he did it, nobody knew it was coming. So like I think probably half the crew laughed so loud that it ruined the take. And then the
I
second time there was still at least like four or five of us that still laughed. And I think for the third and fourth and fifth take, I think I probably had to leave the room. But yeah, that was improv. And then like a lot of
I think that's the thing they were talking about in the audio commentary because one of the directors said that he just laughing the take and they had to redo it and Byron apologized and he was like, no, apologize. That's why, that's what he was hoping for.
yeah, there's really no better
That's
feeling
really
like
awesome.
yeah, like when you're doing something like that and you make the crew laugh so hard that they ruin it. That's when you know you're doing something right. So yeah,
Exactly.
that
Speaking
was
of
awesome.
speaking of doing something right, before Byron gets here, we'll go with strictly Jeremy King question. Um, if you could explain to the audience here the significance of the name Rad Chad Buckley and your relation with Paper Street Pictures and Aaron Kuntz as a Buckley.
Yeah, so so I worked with Paper Street like years and years and years ago on like well actually it wasn't even Paper Street. It was Aaron and Cameron were working with another crew in Orlando. They were going to school at Full Sail at the time, and I was playing a bicycle cop. And during their downtime, they were like filming me outside, just messing with people and stuff like that. And it was so funny that they actually made that into another short film. Um, but when these guys started Paper Street, um, they, I think he wrote me on Facebook. Like this is like 10 years after we had worked together. And Cameron was like, "Hey man, I don't know if you want to come out to Austin and work with us. We're starting this new company, blah blah blah." He goes, "We can't really pay you. Um, but we have a place for you to stay and blah blah blah." And I wrote him back this like one page thing of like, "I am a serious SAG actor. I can't work for free. This is ridiculous." And then at the end of it, I go, "Hell yeah, I want to work with you guys." So we went out there and just had a blast. It was a short called El Chupacabra.
El
And I played
Chupug Cabra.
oh El Chupug Cabra. Yeah, it was about a pug that if you fed them marshmallows, they turned into a chupacabra and killed everybody. And of course, my not so smart character fed the dog marshmallows.
After being
Um,
specifically told not to.
yes. But then they were making a bigger budget film, and I think that was it with Paramount?
Yes, Camera Obscura.
Yeah, Camera Obscura with Paramount Pictures, and I didn't know. I didn't know it was like I didn't know it had to pass through Paramount. So they're like, "Hey man, we have this character for you," and they named him Jeremy. And it's like this very serious like thriller slash horror movie, but then like my character is running um what's the word I'm looking for? Running a store and basically just a really goofy character.
Yeah, hardware store.
Hardware store. Thank you. I'm having early onset dementia. So they go, "Hey man, you have to audition for this. We have to send it to somebody." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So my buddy comes over and we film it in my garage. And again, it just went off the rails and went in all these dark, weird places. It was like a 20-minute thing instead of like a little 5-minute scene that they sent me. And they get it. And about 20 minutes later, I hear back from Aaron. He goes, "Look, man," he goes, "we're all laughing, like we're rolling on the floor, literally." He goes, "But can you leave out this joke, leave out that joke? Don't talk about male rape. Don't talk about like all this stuff." And he goes, "We have to send this off to like the bigwigs at Paramount." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I had to totally redo it and stick to the script. But when we filmed, I'm like, my name's not Jeremy, it's Tad Buckley, like I'm Tad Buckley. And that started the Buckley-verse.
Actually, El Chupacabra, you were
Well,
Padre Buckley.
But that was actually done later on
Yep.
to retroactively make him Padre Buckley. And then there was a, what was it? Brad? Tad? There was a Buckley that existed, in the early 1900s. That was Great Grandpa Buckley. Now Tad. So there's a Buckley verse.
And what happens to every Buckley?
They die.
Jeremy has been killed in every Scare Package production. A Buckley has been killed in every production by Scare
That's
Package.
True. That's true. A Buckley has died in every film. It's very sad. I think Aaron just subconsciously wants me to die. He wants to murder me.
And I'll tell people, Camera Obscura, it didn't do very well. It's relatively forgotten, which I think is criminal because
I really enjoyed it.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
In fact, the reason I first watched Scare Package, and I told Aaron this, is when it popped up on Shudder, and I looked and I saw the director was Aaron Kuntz. I'm like, that's the guy that did Camera Obscura, that little film that I loved that nobody seems to know. So the reason I watched it was because I was a fan of Camera Obscura. And Jeremy has one of the greatest fight scenes since They Live in Camera Obscura. In case, I don't want to give anything away, but if you could all find the movie Camera Obscura, Jeremy's fight scene, which I believe you did not have a stuntman.
I'm certainly looking it up and gonna find it for sure.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's like a 15 or 20-minute fight scene.
That is cool.
Yeah. And I did have a stuntman. And he got really angry because I kept going, like, every time we went to do something, I'd be like, I'll just do it. Like, they had to hit me over the head with this vase that was supposed to break, but they got the wrong vase. And it wasn't the sugar glass it was supposed to be. It was much thicker. And so they scored it. They scored the back of the vase where you're supposed to hit me over the head with it. But man, like, they're like, you're gonna do this? I go, yeah, man. I got hit in the head enough playing football, and that's probably why I can't remember things now. But yeah, they hit me over the head with that, and it really, like, it almost knocked me out. But yeah, my stunt guy was not very happy because he did do the falling from the second story scene. I was like, you can handle that one, buddy.
Absolutely underrated film. I'm a huge fan of everything Aaron and Cameron have done, as you can tell. But yeah, Camera Obscura is definitely one that flew under the radar. I think it was a timing thing. It came out at that weird time where films weren't going to the theaters, especially independent horror films. Paramount didn't want to get behind it, and it just kind of vanished.
Well, and apparently there was a lot of editing that was done after Aaron was basically done with the film. So I think that's why after that experience, he basically self-funded the rest of the films that he does, because what came out basically, from what I understand, was not his vision of what that was supposed to be in the first place.
And it's still a great film.
Right. So I can only imagine like how good his version of it would be,
Yeah, and sadly, you'll probably never see the director's cut of that unless he can get the rights back completely.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
it happens. I'm sure that happens all the time. I mean, look at any big budget film that a lot of people have their hands in, and they all think they know what the right direction is. It's like, it's crazy.
Kind of makes me think of the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad that everybody wants to see, that probably may not ever be seen, to the public, I should say.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, gosh, I can only imagine once it gets into the $200 million range or $150 million range, I'm sure there's 100 different people that want to have their hands in it at the end of the day,
Right.
Hey, Brian, are you checking in with
I'm checking in with Byron now.
Mr. Mayor.
Said he's at a restaurant and he's not getting signal, and he's gonna see if we're still going by the time he gets out. Told me he's a terrible human being.
Absolutely terrible human being.
You know, I used to think Han was bad. Now I'm thinking it's Byron. He's become a diva.
Well, you know, he is nerd sexy.
That's true.
And once you get the nerd sexy label, I mean, you may have the wiggle and butt shot in the film, but he's the nerd sexy.
Yeah, he's never going to be the same.
So how you're doing Rad Chad again for these YouTube shows and series?
So happy.
I was going to say, I know you love the character. We've talked about it, and you love playing Rad Chad, but how do your wife and kids like when you have to go with the Chad mustache and haircut to do these things?
My wife hates it. Right when we're done filming, she's like, "Can you please cut the mustache off?" And I've just been keeping it for like an extra week after we're done filming. We're filming like once a month now. So I have to, grow it all out and then, shave it down to a mustache, and then I'll usually keep it like an extra week. I don't think anyone really likes it. And then I'll forget it's on. Like I was at the gym the other day, and this guy that I talked to every once in a while, I was like, "Man," he's like, "Cool stash." And I'm like, "Oh shit." Like, I totally forgot I still had this. Yeah, thank you.
And what about the haircut?
I mean, the haircut's just basically my haircut, but spiky, so it's not too different.
So
But yeah,
if
the
the wife complains about the mustache, how the hell did you end up with a third child?
stash. Because we weren't filming any scare package movies, and I didn't have the mustache for a while, so she was letting me snuggle with her.
I think the truth is, and you can confirm or deny, she was starting to get a little peanut butter and jelly over our relationship.
Yeah.
And said, I better give him some.
Yeah. We better have a child so we can
win him back.
Marriage. So he doesn't leave me for Brian's mom.
Or Brian. He's got the snuggle pillow.
Or Brian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Dude. It's kind of creepy.
What the
Has
hell?
Brian invited you guys for wings?
Actually,
Not
yeah.
yet. Not yet.
I don't have snuggle pillows of them either, Jeremy. So
I know.
But this is not.
Matt feels left out now. John said yes.
This is
Why have you not invited Matt for wings?
Well, if Matt comes to Buffalo, he can absolutely have wings.
That's your
Man, I would love to.
And can I defend Brian for a second when it comes to wings? Okay. Well, fuck Brian. But
no, you can't.
Well, I would, but this would be the weekend, but that's a whole nother story. But in Brian's defense here, which is rare for me to defend him.
Yes.
I've always known it to be an open invite, whether it was the ladies of the Evil Dead and other people he's been associated with, me, Felissa Rose, all that stuff. It's always been an open invite for the wings if you're in the area.
And I have had to take people up on it. There are several people who have come through town and said, you said something about these wings? And I'm like, yeah.
Except for Matt. You didn't invite Matt. That's pretty upsetting, isn't it?
Well, and you dude,
and you're from Buffalo. That's the origin of chicken wings. That's the origin state or the origin city.
Then that's why I say I will take everybody for the best wings in the world, not the ones they tell you to get in Buffalo, the touristy shit. The real deal I'll take people to.
That's Dubs, correct?
Yes. And yes.
Surprised they don't sponsor you yet.
They should, because I promote them on the show all the time. But I do get, I get some little benefits there sometimes.
Wings with benefits?
Is it Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh, I'm God, no. Little handy under the table now and again,
It's nice.
That's
Jeremy said off the rails. I think we've already gone there.
Yeah. Well, it happens. All right, back to Scare Package.
Byron used to be my favorite
I was going to say
as Sam in Scare Package, and now I'm going to have to change my favorite character.
Well, as far as the Scare Package, what are you guys talking about? I have my pants on this time.
Oh, wow. Good job.
Well, I don't, so that
It's
makes
skip
one of
by.
us.
Brian actually never wears pants for interviews.
Never.
Makes him too hot.
Well, you got to let it be free. It's
Oh,
it's how
talking
you
to me,
listen.
my bad.
Yeah. So my other question,
I had to let your mom be free. That's why we broke up.
she said you were
They
smothering.
say if you love something, let it go, and if it comes back to you, it was meant to be.
Yeah, well, she said you
I'm
were a
still
little
waiting.
She said you were a little smothering, a little
Yeah.
bit.
And
Although
now,
my mother does yell at me whenever I make any jokes or make fun of Jeremy at all, and insists that I refer to him by his name that she calls him.
Daddy.
No, she calls him what Hallmark's newest heartthrob, Jeremy King.
right.
That's how I'm supposed to say it.
Right.
Hallmark's newest heartthrob, Jeremy King, because Jeremy just starred in a Hallmark production.
That's correct.
Uh,
Taste of love.
Taste of Love
Taste of love.
with Martin Cove and Martin's son. So,
Jesse Cove.
Jesse and Martin Cove. There was a little Cobra Kai action going on in Jeremy's trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jeremy's Hallmark's latest heartthrob. So it's back to Scare Package. I remember we were talking a few months ago before you started doing the Rad Chad YouTube thing. And you were complaining that you couldn't get the Rad Chad shirt because it was gone and they ripped the sleeve off it.
Yes.
And yet you are doing it now. How did they make you a new shirt, or is this the original one?
So if you'll notice, the sleeves were rolled up because yeah, they're both ripped off, and then the back was all bloody and stuff from the one shoot.
Oh, gnarly. Now, is that screen used?
Oh
Or
yeah,
is that?
this is
Oh,
the,
hell yeah.
yeah.
That's so awesome.
I believe you said that's the only Rad Chad
It's
Horror
currently
Emporium
the
short.
only.
Holy
There was
shit.
two. There was two, and one was the good one that had the sleeves and everything else, and somehow it got lost along the way. So now we're using that one.
And where's your bolo? Your bolo tie?
My bolo tie is with it. It always stays with it. Yeah.
How cool is this, folks? You're actually seeing Rad Chad's.
The fact that you get to keep so many of the props is so awesome.
Believe it or not, I actually bought this for they weren't even going to do anything with a bolo tie or anything. And when I went in for El Chupug Cabra, I wore a pink polo shirt with a bolo tie, a polo with a bolo. And I just showed up in it. I'm like, this is what I'm wearing.
That is cool.
It kind of went from there, yeah.
And you guys got to find that El Chupug Cabre.
Oh, that was such a good time. The outtakes, I think, are my favorite part of that movie.
The
I think they show at
outtakes,
the end.
Jeremy's improvising outtakes at the end will slay you, because Jeremy is pretty quick on the set, and he actually sets his ire on the child in the film. So the nastiest things he says in these outtakes are geared at and to the child in the film.
Where else would you put your angst? But in a 9 or 10-year-old child. I mean, not towards. I love watching Brian trying to read.
Yeah, Brian's old and he's blind, and we know he walks with a cane and he never wears pants. So
what do we know about Brian so far?
Yeah, that's all you need to know about Brian. Now, I know Nick, Ray, Jody, they're all horror fans. Do you have any questions for?
Oh boy, did he freeze?
He froze, I think, with the talking about going pantsless.
Yeah, I think that was Zoom just turning his camera off.
It could be. Yeah, I said.
I thought
Nick,
he was trying to stand up.
Nick, Ray, Jody, jump in with a question for Jeremy. Like, why doesn't he do the horror convention circuit? Because Scare Package 1 and now Scare Package 2, Rad Chad is becoming a horror icon.
I don't know. I would be really sad if I went to one of those things and people were like, "Who are you?"
Well,
Rad Chad. No one cares.
didn't that actually happen to you with people who had just watched the film and were praising it?
That happened in Telluride. What is the name of that horror festival? Is it just the Telluride Horror Festival? Telluride, whatever. So yeah, it was right after the premiere, and we were walking down the street, and I think Aaron and Cameron had given like a Q&A after the movie. And so like this whole group of people walked by and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we love Scare Package. It was so funny, blah, blah." They're like, "Let us buy you a drink." So we're all like, "All right." So we're in the bar and I'm talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, it was so funny. I love that one part." I go, "I'm Rad Chad, right?" And they're like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "Seriously, I am." And they're like, "No, you're not." And I took off my hat and I go, and they're like, "Oh, now I see it. Okay."
Yeah, Rad Chad isn't even recognized by his own fans.
Right after seeing the movie. That's good though, right?
That's very good, actually, because as my mother says, he's so much more handsome as Jeremy than as Rad Chad. The creepy porn stash, makes you look a little sketchy. Was the look of Rad Chad your idea, or was that Aaron's?
I believe it was mine. I think we kind of took like what we did for El Padre, and even the whitewashed jeans I went out and found. Like when I flew into town and it was like a day or two before filming, I went to a thrift store and I found those whitewashed jeans that were so terrible. And I also brought back a few other options for shirts and different stuff like that, but we knew the bolo tie was going to go. And then I brought in the whitewashed jeans that were kind of, hip huggers.
And the stash?
The stash was all me. Yeah, yeah. I had to go with the mustache.
Do you regret the mustache choice now?
No, I love it.
I think it's kind of what makes Rad Chad this iconic character. He's so out of place.
Is he though, or is he really in place?
No, he's out of place.
Maybe he's just in the wrong decade.
Sam is in place. and as horror fans, everybody in this room are horror fans, and they go to horror convention, and they know what the diehard snotty horror fans are like, and Byron nails it. Sam is the epitome of that person you see at horror cons arguing with people. That line, "You are gonna flip your shit." I mean, he nails it. And I was gonna say, now, after you did some festivals for the film and Q&As and some talks, you had to have met some real life Sams afterwards. Other than me.
I mean, I've met a ton of horror fans, but I wouldn't say any that were like overly obnoxious or like terrible in the way Sam is. The really cool thing about Scare Package is that everybody's been super awesome about it. Yeah, so I mean, I haven't met anyone that's been anything close to Sam, believe it or not.
They're out there. Matt,
I guess I've been lucky.
Sam's.
I guess I've been lucky.
Yes, pretentious A24 film fans that think their farts don't stink. That's where what I think of, honestly.
And that's
I've certainly met a few of those in my life.
Maybe the people that like enjoy Scare Package and watch Scare Package are like the ones that are like can laugh at themselves and can laugh at the whole genre. Maybe they're the ones that have a love for it but don't like look down on others,
Right. Those are the fun people. Those are the people you want to meet and chat with. Yeah.
100%.
What about those horror fans at the cons that don't bathe? No.
With the what?
That's not good.
Oh, no, that's a running thing, though, that people don't bathe at cons. For a certain...
I've seen people with signs about deodorant. Like, if you can afford to go to a con, you can afford deodorant.
Yep.
I've seen those signs.
Yep. It's Jeremy. I'll send you some. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's Jeremy. Does Rad Chad bathe?
I think Rad Chad bathes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he looks
His
clean.
mom makes him
His-
because he lives in her basement and she can, like if he comes up for dinner that she made and he hasn't bathed, she'll make him go take a bath. A bath, not a shower. Chad takes baths.
And I think a lot of people, if they don't know, Scare Package kind of is a sequel to Camera Obscura.
Yes.
I had no clue about that.
Because Rad Chad makes reference to
There he is.
Hey.
ladies.
You don't hear me?
Yes,
Now we
we
can hear
can. Let me
Hey guys, I'm so
introduce.
sorry. But you look great, Brian. I love your glasses.
Thank you. I what is with the mustache?
Oh, you like my summer stash?
I
love it.
love the summer stash.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying something different here.
But I want to give everyone in the room an introduction to Byron Brown, because this man, there are a few people in the world that make me laugh, like Byron Brown. He is the greatest snarky style comic. He is what Chevy Chase wishes he could have been when it comes to the snarky, obnoxious humor. And not just in Scare Package, but in all the other work he's done. And I recommend to people all the time the most underrated and underwatched and should be famous internet series of all time, Beta Boys. Available on you. I think it's available on YouTube. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Right, yeah, it's hit or miss. It's very elusive, but thank you so much, man. You were doing wonders for my self-esteem. I need to check in with you at least once a week and get this, this treatment, because it makes me feel good. And you're just such a champion of me, and also Scare Package and Jeremy. And I just feel the love and appreciate the support. You're the best.
Jeremy says it too, except when you're not here. He says horrible things about you.
Oh, yeah.
When
you didn't show up tonight, I said terrible things about you, Byron. I said you kind of become a diva. This is like your thing.
Oh, yeah.
Show up.
I'm a diva.
To show up 43 minutes late to every interview.
That's how I roll.
You learned from Han.
You learned from Han, and Han's a terrible person and a bully.
He's an objectively bad person, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not even objectively.
So, Byron, you play what was described, as I told you, as nerd sexy character, as Misha Malcolm described him. Did you know people like Sam in real life, or where did you, because you nail that character and that type of horror fan better than anybody I've ever seen do it?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, probably so. I'm sure there were characters that I've encountered over the years that influenced that. But maybe it's also kind of just an alter ego, or it's just one of my inner personas that emerges from time to time, that I let loose. I don't know. I don't really have an explanation, but it just kind of I didn't overthink it or really prepare. I just kind of showed up and was in the moment and responded to sort of the energy that Rad Chad was giving me and Han was giving me, and it all just kind of happened organically. So,
yeah, there is an immediate chemistry between the three of you in that film, which is amazing. It shows how brilliant you and Jeremy are, because we all know Han is such a bully and such a horrible human being.
Yeah, once the camera's cut, I mean, me and Byron just ran off to our dual trailer together and just tried to not get bullied by Han.
He was a tyrant. Yeah, we need to clip some of these little these moments in the podcast, Brian, and then use them to maybe like persuade investors for Scare Package 3. Like put a sizzle reel. You know what I mean?
I can. I have lots of things, because once they hear about Han, they'll all be willing to invest. Now, did you and Jeremy you're a Texan, he's a Floridian, so you're both a little weird to begin with.
Couple of hicks.
Yeah. Did you guys hit it off right away off set, or did you first meet on set? Because like I said, the two of you really do have this from the first scene you two are in together where you're giving him the application. There is this spark and this chemistry between you two that is just absolutely magical, and it carries over into the second film so well. That did you guys feel it right away?
I don't think we met before. I think I think we just like the first time we met was that scene at the front desk of the video store.
Yeah, I think we
Is that
literally
right,
met
Jeremy?
right before this scene. I was like, "Hey, man," and then we just went at it. Yeah,
Just went right into it.
I
And
was an instant fan of Byron's though. Like I said, like I would stay and watch his stuff with Han because like I just like I said, I know I ruined one or two takes on the Goldie Hawn thing, personally, but I became an instant fan of Byron because he's just so damn funny
right back at you, sir.
and so
You
nerdy.
guys
Jeremy
play
is
off each
more
other
Jeremy.
brilliantly.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying you guys play off each other brilliantly. Like you guys are both hilarious. Not to
Thank
interrupt.
you. We got to do it some more.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, one of the funniest things is on the Blu-ray or DVD a scare package, and now I think they actually posted it on YouTube because of the Rad Chad channel. There's a commercial for Rad Chad's Horror Emporium, and the funniest thing in the commercial is no attention is drawn to it. The camera doesn't focus on it. You just see Byron every once in a while trying to get on screen with it, and it is absolutely hysterical.
No, he's creeping. He's creeping.
And you're wearing a very tight pair of shorts for some reason.
Well, there was a reason for that, and it's because I wanted to.
I thought Han might have cut the
Valid.
legs off your pants and bullied
No,
you.
no, that was all me, man. I was like, for this commercial, we're gonna sex it up a little bit. Show
Now,
some leg.
I'm trying to be professional here. I love you guys so much that it's hard to be professional because I always just want to fuck around with you and like make fun of each other. But I'm trying to be professional for the people here who aren't familiar. You're a Texan, Paper Street's out of Austin originally. And how did you meet them? How did you get hooked up with Aaron and Cameron? Because we heard Jeremy's story before. You were so fashionably late. How he met them. How did you hook up with Aaron and Cameron?
I was doing little films in town, and I think Aaron was friends with some of the filmmakers that I was already working with. I think specifically Emily Hagens, who I'd been in a couple of her movies, and so I think maybe even she recommended me to Aaron, and he'd seen some of my stuff. And I remember the first time I met him, because Cameron Burns was the person that reached out to me. But when I finally met Aaron, was at his house for the wardrobe fitting, and he was like, "I've seen your work. I'm a fan of your work, and I can't wait to get you and Jeremy in the room together." He kept saying, "He's like, I want to get you guys together," and I was like, "Who's Jeremy?" No, and yeah, that was it. So he just seen me and some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's, he seems like he's got a lot going on. He's making stuff happen."
And he could see it. I mean, he's a professional. He's a producer and a director. He could see that the two of you, your characters, your sense of humor, your timing, the way you deliver, you're both incredibly funny, incredibly straight man funny, incredibly dry, but in a very different way. And that's something you don't see every day because you're almost both essentially straight men because you don't play it as comedic, you play it straight, and that's what makes it brilliant. And I think a little Easter egg for the people watching, the house you met Aaron in for the wardrobe testing was the house used in the first segment of this film, the Michael Myers segment.
Is that right?
Yes, that was Aaron's house
Oh,
at the
yeah.
time. He told
That's
me.
right. You know what? Yes.
And
Absolutely.
he was selling it soon after that, he said, or it was already on the market when they had all those huge blood splatters for the film.
Oh, so. What's funny is I stayed in that house afterwards and he was telling me the stories and showing me like the blood splatters that were all around the house still that they couldn't get out.
Yeah, and he was going to be selling the house, and it had blood splatters everywhere.
Yeah,
That's just adds to the comedy. I want to know I want Byron to answer first because he'll give me a more mature answer.
fine.
Outside of the Scare Package universe, how would you like to work with Jeremy on a project? I mean, would that be something you like? Would you like guys like to do like a buddy road film?
I am absolutely game to work on any project in any genre with Jeremy. I'd love to do like a Lifetime movie with Jeremy because Jeremy, he's tapped into that market. He's been in a few Lifetime movies.
Hallmark, thank you. He is
I've
Hallmark.
also been in Lifetime movies, Brian.
Yes, I know that, but my mother says you are Hallmark's latest heartthrob.
Well, that doesn't mean I can't just go back to Lifetime.
And Sinister Seduction.
That's right.
Which is what I call every episode you're on.
Jeremy, I want to infiltrate a Lifetime movie with Jeremy.
I want to do a buddy cop movie with Byron.
I think a buddy robber movie with Byron and you would be better.
Buddy robber.
If you guys were like the new Conway and Don Knotts as like bumbling bank robbers or something,
you can see that.
Yeah,
that would be funny. And then I would get a Byron snuggle pillow to go with my Jeremy snuggle
pillow.
There
it is. It wouldn't be a podcast without the pillow.
It wouldn't.
And Sarah's not here, so I can hold up the pillow all I want.
It's usually when the pillow is a little more scrunched up.
Well, I had to iron it for the show. Scare Package 1, Scare Package 2, which they're going to be watching later. Were you surprised, Byron especially, that you were called to do a sequel since your guts were on the ground in Scare Package 1?
Yes. Yeah, I was like, but I immediately got it. I was like, yeah, it's like, who cares? Anything goes with Scare Package. And that's what's beautiful about this universe is it's absurdist and we can do whatever we want. And, yeah. The more horrific that, ending was for Sam in the first one, it's like even funnier to see him like trying to cope afterwards with the wheelchair and everything.
And like Jeremy, Sam is becoming a horror icon. And now you get the second movie. If we get a third one, Sam is going to become one of those horror stock characters. And how do you feel about being pigeonholed into that?
I love it. I love that idea. I want to ultimately, if we can get enough buzz and get enough people into it, Jeremy and I could eventually, do these Comic-Con tours or these convention tours where we sign autographs and make a little bit of money and have fun and connect with fans. I don't think we're there yet. I think
that's what I said.
Yeah, but it would be fun to get there and to hit that level of recognition. And don't get me wrong, there's a sadness to doing those conventions as well. There's a real sadness to that, but it would be fun.
I don't know. Everybody that I know
can we do cameos at this point? You think we could have some passive income? Or I'm
gonna put up a cameo and I'm gonna put it up for $1,000.
Yeah.
Just to be ridiculous.
We could maybe together, Sam and or all three of us, Han, Sam, and Rad Chad,
but then Han would bully us and just take all the money.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was like a 3-fer. We could do a cameo and charge $12.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you guys are close. You are close to hitting that iconic horror character. It's catching on. People are loving this film, and anybody who sees it, I guarantee you, every horror fan that sees this movie tells at least 5 or 6 other horror fans they know to watch it. And that's the way it spreads. It's that, because it's a horror parody for horror fans. It doesn't insult the fans. It doesn't talk down to them. It doesn't flip its nose at the genre. It's a very loving tribute and you guys pull it off that way. There is nothing in either of your performances that are snooty or looking down at horror as a whole. You're both so positive, and it's so loving that the fans pick up on that. I mean, Matt, Nick, Jody, Ray, do you guys all pick up on that?
Absolutely. The passion's there. You can tell, even listen to the audio commentary, that these guys, they love horror films. Absolutely.
Yeah. The love is there for sure.
Yes, definitely. I agree as well.
I have a question though, if I may interrupt. You guys, my first initial question was going to be, did you guys improvise any of the lines together? But then after listening to Jeremy, I realized that you guys did. Do you guys have a favorite scene that you guys improvised together? Because you guys play off each other so brilliantly.
I would say my favorite scene is probably the initial one when he comes in to try to apply for the job.
Yeah, that was our first scene. That was our first meeting.
Yeah. Just because the back and forth was so quick, and just, Chad, please, I can do this. I love it.
And I was doing a lot of improv comedy at that time, so I think that was really beneficial. I've been rusty, so I've got to, before the next one, I need to start getting on stage and sharpening those improv skills.
That's awesome, dude. The directors called you, Byron. They said you were a brilliant comedic actor. That's what one of them says. They said you were a brilliant comedic actor on the audio commentary of Scare Package, the Blu-ray.
Oh, I gotta watch. I've never seen the audio commentary.
Yes, I was just watching it today for the first time. Not the film,
That's
but
so
the
nice.
Can I tell you my favorite scene that you two have together that you can tell there's at least a couple improvised lines? Is the cleaning of the piranha tank scene. And it's not even so much that Byron's willing to clean the piranha tank. It's that's my mom. She's getting the shag and wagon detailed. That whole shag and wagon detailed thing. And what really sells it when you says, I got a big weekend, and they cut to Jeremy, who does this stifled laugh, and it is perfect.
Yeah, that was
to be clear, Han was actually cleaning the piranha tank at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, which reminds me, there's room to cast Sam's mother. Somebody could play Sam's mother. And who would that be? Yes. Yes.
I would be delighted to be Sam's mother.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Could I keep the beard?
I think that goes without saying, yeah.
Shag and wagon was your line, was it not?
Yeah, it was. Gotta go clean the shag and wagon.
Shag and wagon. That was not an improv. That was written, I think.
That was in their script?
Yeah. I wish I could take credit for that one.
Well, I think you should from here on out.
Yeah.
Take credit for that one, because.
But I will take credit for my favorite. I'll take credit for Goldie Hawn. I will take credit for that. I'm very proud of that.
We had a 20-minute talk about that, how I kept ruining takes when I freaking heard it the first time. So did the rest of the crew. It was so ridiculous.
I love that joke works on 3 levels. The whole golden shower, Hawn Tran, and the fact that you're in a video shop talking about Goldie Hawn.
Right.
It just works, because where else in the world is anybody going to think of Goldie Hawn other than a VHS video shop?
Exactly.
I still have a poster on my wall.
The answer would be here, Brian.
I have a poster of Jeremy on my wall, actually.
I believe that.
With the pillow?
I do not have a poster of Jeremy, but I do have a signed Rad Chad photo on the wall, and a signed scare package thing from Aaron and Cameron that includes my membership card.
Oh, I'm guessing from all those pictures behind you, I'm probably the most famous person on your wall.
Yeah, yes, you are. You're my favorite.
Aw.
But I do not have an autographed Byron Brown photo. Hint. I don't know where it is.
Oh, by the way, you know what? Somebody messaged me on Instagram as a Scare Package fan and asked if I would sign a poster, and I gave them my home address and thought, I hope this guy doesn't murder me. But the poster never came. I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'll sign it, send it over." And so he was going to mail me a poster to sign, and I never received it. So he may end up murdering me. We'll see.
Well, if you have his Instagram name, let us know, and we'll keep an eye out.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep you all posted. I'll send your handle.
Well, I was given Jeremy's address.
Not by me though. It was by accident.
The very first time we spoke on my show, we had messaged back and forth a few times about getting you on the show, and then we were on the show, and somehow wrestling came up, and my book had just come out, and you're like, "Oh, that's awesome." I said, "Oh, I'll send you a copy," and then afterwards, you said, "Yeah, here's my address." I'm like, "Dude, I was just doing this whole played up thing about me being like super stalker fan, and you gave me your address." You know, I'm glad you could tell I was kidding about being super stalker fan.
Could I?
Obviously, just kidding.
Yeah, obviously. So
you should really look out your window at night for safety.
Yeah, I mean, just because
thank goodness I have a 2-story house right now, so
just because I know what's in your garbage.
Upstairs.
If you see a guy with a not a fedora, but a beret.
If there's like Sasquatch sightings on the local app, people from my neighborhood.
I will say this, Jeremy,
I'll know
that
Brian's been stalking my house.
Well, I will say this, that, you know, going through your garbage nightly, I am happy to see your family's eating healthier now.
Thank you.
So Byron, we'll have to get your address after the show.
Yeah, I'll send you my address, and send me whatever. I'll sign everything.
Actually,
then he'll start inviting you for wings.
There is the one thing I want to. Well, he has already been invited for wings if he ever gets to Buffalo. He knows that. But the picture I need signed of Sam is the one that I made for you this Halloween with this obnoxious horror fan costume, with the picture of you peeking behind, and it's like,
oh yeah.
You know those what were they called? Those horror costume memes that were going around. I actually made one for Jeremy and one for Sam. One for Chad and one for Sam. I would love Sam to sign that one.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about being nerd sexy?
I'll take it. I mean, you know, sexy in any context is a huge thrill for me.
Do you feel emasculated when you're on the set with Jeremy and Han?
Yeah. Yeah.
Without question.
Only when we're going out for wings.
Now,
we did actually go out for wings in Oklahoma City.
I was going to say,
yes, we did.
Where were the Scare Package films done?
Austin and Oklahoma City.
Both of them?
First one was in Austin. Second one was in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Second one, so the third one will be in Beijing.
Yeah.
I heard Toronto.
It might be at this point.
I know that Paper Street was actually planning on opening an office in Toronto for international.
Aaron is actually in Toronto right now, working on something.
Yeah, he had told me that they were setting up an office in Toronto, kind of to do an international thing with Paper Street. And I'm like, you realize you're only an hour away from Wings.
There we go. There's our excuse.
Cameron's like,
dude, you have a passport, Brian?
I don't need a passport.
You don't.
Yeah, but what if you brought us wings? What if we're shooting in Toronto and you brought us wings?
They don't travel well. You can't travel with the wings. Actually, I live on the border.
With what a diva Byron is, you know you're gonna have to bring the wings.
Well, no. Yeah. Well, because you're gonna have to just wear your disguise out in public, so not everyone hassles you at the table. But in New York, where I live on the border, all you need is an enhanced license, which has got a microchip in it. You don't need a passport to travel to and from Canada because they figure.
Is it the real ID?
Yes, because you live on the border. So it's like, you know, what the hell?
You can cross anytime you want anyway.
So many people work on the other side of the border from this area. You know, a ton of people in my office are actually from Canada. They just drive in every day to work because When
you're practically in Canada.
Yes, from my office, unlike Sarah Palin, who I could do it from her house where she could see Russia, from the office I work in, when I'm in the office, I work from home most of the time, but from my office, I actually do see Canada out my window. Because it's right there. It's just the Niagara River separates my office and Canada. Yeah.
Does it look different? Does it look more friendly?
It actually does. It's really fucking scary. If you go to downtown Niagara Falls, and let's say you're staying at the Casino Hotel, which is 30 stories, you get up to one of the top stories, you're staying on one of the top floors, and you open up the windows and you look to your left, and it's this just beautiful parks and fantastic, and you turn and look to your right, and it's a demilitarized zone. I mean, it's literally just crossing a bridge. It's two totally different worlds. But
Canada sounds lovely.
Canada is lovely.
I've been to Vancouver and I loved it.
Oh, Toronto is not as good as it used to be because it's the most populous city in Canada, so it's become nothing but giant condos everywhere. The whole downtown is nothing but high-rise condos, which ruined the whole feel of it.
But do they have a Duff's in Toronto?
They do.
There you go, Byron. We don't have to travel to Brian.
Amen.
But if you're in Toronto, you don't think I could sniff you guys out?
I believe you could.
I mean, it's only an hour away.
Literally.
It is. You guys got to come to Buffalo and hang out.
I think we need to. We got to do the whole Byron Brown documentary.
Telling them before you came on that I have pitched that to Byron Brown's office. But there's some political scandals going on in the Byron Brown administration right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's not a lighthearted.
But do you think he could pay for play to get that interview with the?
I'm hoping. All I know is it'd be good for his public image now to do something like that. But because it would be hilarious for Byron Brown comes to Buffalo to run for mayor.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a remote segment of a talk show or something. We're gonna go to Buffalo, New York, and run for mayor. Something, I don't know.
Now, Beta Boys. We have to talk a little bit about Beta Boys, even though this is a scare package panel, just because I'm a Beta Boys huge fan. Is there going to be another episode?
I don't know. I think maybe we could rally some people, but I haven't heard anything. I'm totally down to do it.
Well, you've left us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well,
if I remember correctly, you guys there was something. Were you lost in space, or were you?
They're about to be destroyed in space. They're being sent on a suicide mission.
Yes.
Yeah. It's it's a very complicated story, Jeremy.
I've watched it. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And you are absolutely
the funniest thing ever, though.
Brilliant.
What is the name of that video that you're the 80s comedian?
Oh yeah, Dan the Ski Man.
The Ski Man.
Oh my God.
The Mount Rushmore of comedy is
That's
Dan the Ski Man.
That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah, for those out there who don't know, Beta Boys is a comedy troupe out of Austin, Texas. And some of the sketches they did this web series, which was called Beta Boys, which was a sci-fi comedy series. They also did short sketches and comedy routines, and each of the individuals played a different type of 80s stand-up comic when 80s stand-up comedy shows were everywhere, and they were just so overdone and so stereotypical and so horrible that the guys in this troupe each play one of those personas, and Byron's might be one of the funniest things I have ever seen is Dan the Ski Man.
And isn't there a Reddit thread going right now where people are questioning whether that was a real 80s comedian or it's they don't know, right?
Yeah, we had a couple of Reddit posts where people were they thought it looks pretty legit,
100%. 100% it looks like it's the 80s.
The outfit you have on, everything is so legit, to that loud vest you were wearing. That is just so 80s. The jokes. the delivery of the jokes, the mannerism, it just
Oh my
screams
God.
80s stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But it might not be Byron's funniest moment, which has been scrubbed from the internet, sadly.
Oh yeah, One-Eyed Dawn.
One-Eyed Don.
One-Eyed
Who-
Dude, yeah, yeah. One-Eyed Don's
You
probably my
know what I think
favorite.
I'm going to do? I think I'm going to re-edit that because there's some sections of that I think are maybe too hot for 2024.
Yes.
But I might re-edit that, cut out a few key moments, but maintain the spirit of One-Eyed Dawn and drop that online.
I think One-Eyed Don needs his own reality show.
Yeah, reality show or get him into a stand-up rotation.
One of the members of Beta Boys.
He just shows up drunk to like an open mic night,
Yeah,
grabs the mic from the
a
guy.
really horrific open
Let me
night.
tell you a story.
Yeah,
One of the alumni of the Beta Boys comedy troupe is R.M. Brown, not to be
Yes.
confused with Byron, but R.M. Brown, who is now a major player in the YouTube universe.
huge, like huge. I mean, and it was happening. He built up his channel and his audience as we were shooting Beta Boys stealth. Like we didn't know he was doing it.
No, and
Oh,
he's
wow.
like in like the millions and millions of views. It's a political commentary. It's hilarious, but he's done pretty well for himself. Do you think he'd be able to come back and do Beta Boys?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's totally down. He
'Cause-
does, I think he probably wants to do more stuff.
I have reached out to him, as well as you and the other boys, the other Beta Boys, to try to put a reunion together. And he is all about being on board for it, but he's always so busy, it's tough to plan anything.
Yeah, he's super big.
Well, that and Byron doesn't show up, so.
Right,
Yeah.
and I'll be 30 minutes late. I mean,
43 minutes late.
all apologies.
Everybody,
Even worse now is I am at 3% on my phone in the car.
I was just about to say, we're going to have to let these guys go because it's past their bedtimes. But does anybody have any questions for
one more
anybody?
question for Byron. Now, Jeremy got to keep a couple of things from Scare Package. Did you by chance get to keep any props or wardrobe from Scare Package?
Yes.
Like maybe
As a matter
the
of fact,
Let's Talk About Jesus?
Talk About Jesus. I still have my Talk
maybe
About
I thought-
Jesus shirt.
I need
And,
one of
I
those.
cherish it.
That's awesome.
We were getting all these people. I remember on Twitter, whenever the movie premiered on Shudder, so many people were like, "I've got to get my hands on that Talk About Jesus shirt." The movie was almost like a promo for that T-shirt.
Let us pray.
That is so awesome. I love that shirt. I wonder if you can purchase it online because I totally need one.
Bet you can
Yeah,
find
we should start selling those.
It would sell like hotcakes.
I have actually
Right.
seen them online. Someone has been putting them out, whether it was from before or after the movie, but they are available.
Nice.
I like the pillow.
Yes.
That
Well-
pillow needs to be mass produced. That
I
is
know,
so
I
cool.
want the pillows.
Everybody wants the Rad Chad snuggle pillow. And it is not creepy because it is not a Jeremy King snuggle pillow. It is a
It's a-
Rad Chad snuggle
The
pillow.
Right.
Rad Chad pillow.
Was this it?
Yep, that's it.
Byron, was that it?
What?
Is this the shirt?
I can't see you. Where are you?
Oh, Jeremy, start talking.
Yes. Can you see me now?
No. Oh, I thought you were. Oh, yep. That's it.
Wanted.
That's it.
It is available on Amazon, people.
Oh, nice.
Dude, that is gnarly. I love that.
24/7 on Amazon. It's sold by Caruso, Kerusso.
They're getting an order from me tonight.
I'm gonna have to order one too.
Heck yeah.
I-
I want
I-
to wear it just so I can get recognized. Hopefully.
Well, you will
Just
always,
always
be
wearing my
recognized.
wardrobe.
Yeah, that's why I wear my bolo tie everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you will always be recognized by us and especially by me because, Byron, I am not blowing smoke for your ass when I say nobody makes me laugh like Byron Brown makes me laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, he's only got 3% left. Thank you, Byron, for coming on.
Love
Thank
y'all.
you for
Thank
being
you
here,
so much,
man.
Brian.
It's awesome getting to listen to you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Y'all are the best. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Have a great
Talk to
night.
you soon, brother.
Thank
You
you.
too, man.
And Jeremy,
Yes.
do you have any final thoughts about the Scare Package universe? The
Enjoy
fandom?
Scare Package 2. And hopefully soon we will find out something about Scare Package 3.
And in the meantime,
Can't wait.
you can find Rad Chad on YouTube.
On the Paper Street Pictures YouTube.
Yep. Rad Chad's reviews. If you like Joe Bob Briggs, Rad Chad's papa, Rad Chad is now doing a Joe Bob Briggs style review show for short horror films.
For short horror films. Yeah. We're picking up some great short horror films and we're going to talk about them.
We'll put a link to it on the YouTube of this with the Q&A.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Jeremy, I want to thank you again for coming on. And I want everybody to know Jeremy is a very accomplished actor. He's been in 1,000,001 productions, everything from Pirates of the Caribbean. We make fun of Jeremy for doing the Hallmark movies and the Lifetime movies, but this guy's one of the fucking Pirates of the Caribbean, folks.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Bad Monkey is finally
so
coming out.
fucking cool.
So Bad Monkey's finally coming out with Vince Vaughn, August 14th on Apple TV.
Oh, I have to check that out.
I hope if I haven't hit the cutting room floor, you'll see me in episode 2.
And you
know, it's funny. I play a guy named Brad. So in my mind, he's a Buckley.
You are not only one of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Jeremy is one of the people who played 2 roles in Pirates of the Caribbean. He is not only a pirate, but he is also one of the British soldiers.
I was well, God, what was the bad guy's name? I can't think of anything tonight.
I was about to say the same thing. Like, you're in 2 different outfits, dude, and you fit the hell out of the part. You look killer.
Yeah. So we were actually the main Beckett's main guards. So there was only 5 of us that played Beckett's main guards. We were actually responsible for carrying protecting the dead man's chest, and you can actually see me bringing the dead man's chest on the boat when we show up.
What an honor! That's awesome.
So yeah, we were getting ready to leave, and they're like, "Man, we need more pirates. You know, can you stay an extra 2 weeks in the Bahamas?"
No,
to play a pirate, and I go, "Yes, I can."
And just tell them what craft services was like alone on that film.
Oh my God, craft services is like a full buffet for every meal. Every Friday we had steak and lobster. We used to go in. So Johnny Depp's schedule changed when we first got there, and they were going to send us home, but they were worried about getting everybody back on time. So they kept us there for 2 weeks while he was doing this other thing, and so we were training on the muskets and the cannonballs, like cannons every day. And we told our trainer, we're like, dude, bring us in at like 8 a.m, because he'd bring us in, we'd eat this full breakfast buffet we'd sit there and eat for like an hour. We'd go train with muskets and cannons for like an hour, and then we'd go home. And I got my diving certificate when we were out there. We'd go play volleyball every day. It was amazing.
That is amazing, dude. I can't imagine the experience.
Oh,
that's awesome.
It was a blast.
So, Jeremy, I got to thank you again. I want everybody to go find El Chupacabra. Go find Camera Obscura to see one of the greatest fight scenes in movie history outside of They Live. Watch Scare Package 2 with everybody else. Watch Rad Chad. Go watch A Taste of Love, which is available streaming on the Hallmark Channel right now. Go watch Sinister Seduction, a Lifetime movie, where
with another Cobra Kai alum.
Yeah, I saw that movie. I like it a lot. That movie.
Yeah. So, Jeremy,
Bad Monkey, August 14th.
I'm sorry, Nick. What was that?
Yeah, the monk came on Halloween, Rob Zombie film. Have you seen the movie?
I think I did a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I can't think of her name right now, but yeah, she's the lead in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
She was amazing to work with on Sinister Seduction. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's huge in the horror community.
Christina Klebb is who you're thinking of.
Yes,
I think that's the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's actually in the new Halloween video game. She voiced, I think, her character, right?
Yeah.
She voices Sissy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game.
Oh, okay. Maybe
One
I
of the
got that wrong.
best
Yeah.
characters. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she was awesome.
I'll have to when I talk to Christina often, so I'll have to mention
Yeah,
you.
definitely tell her I said hi.
Will do.
She was so fun to work with. In fact,
All
we
right.
almost worked on another film like a year or two ago, but it never got made. I can't remember what it is now. Like everything else tonight. Oh, so Chris McEnroy was putting something together. We had a table read with her for a full-length feature that Chris was floating around, which hopefully will get made.
Who is the guy I was telling you guys about who directed the One Time in the Woods segment?
Oh my God, Chris
And
McEnroy is like the funniest. His
the
short films,
award-winning short
all of
film
them.
starring Jeremy King, Guts,
Guts
which came out. Yep.
Guts, yeah, that was a blast. We're actually reviewing. We forgot about the zombies, which is by Chris McEnroy in one of the new episodes of Rad Chad's Horror Emporium.
Oh, you gotta do the one he did. What was it, Death Metal?
Death Metal's awesome.
You gotta have Rad Chad do Death Metal.
I hope so.
I love Guts because Jeremy's in it, but Death Metal might be the greatest. Death Metal might be the only thing Chris ever did better than One Time in the Woods.
I don't know. I'm a huge
and that's a big if, because One Time in the Woods, I've often said, not only is did I tell you when Chris was on my show and we were talking about different projects, and we talked about One Time in the Woods, and I almost made him cry. When I said, I'm a lifelong horror fan, a horror aficionado, I don't know everything about horror. And in my opinion, there are only 3 brilliant exploding headshots in movie history. One is Scanners, and everybody says that one. Number 2 is Tom Savini's in Maniac, and number 3 is Chris McEnroy's in One Time in the Woods. And he got so triggered. He's like, that's like the nicest thing anybody has ever said.
I've probably watched One Time in the Woods like 50 times.
Yeah.
And it still makes you laugh every single time.
That's my personal favorite. Like, I love 100%. All the skits, but that's my favorite personally.
It's
100%.
The best exploding head. And every joke in it works, and it piles on top of it.
And it's so fast. That's fast. And
how all of Chris's work is.
Yeah. His stuff is just fast, to the point, builds so quickly, and it's like one joke after the other to where like you almost can't catch up, Did
you know in Death Metal, when all the mayhem starts happening and you see that little girl in the jungle gym getting her arms severed?
That was his daughter, right?
That was his daughter, who was like 4 at the time.
During COVID, he actually made a few shorts with her just because they were bored, and they're just as hilarious as the stuff that he comes out with normally. It was great.
Brilliant guy.
He's amazing.
He does his own makeup effects. Well, I mean, he's got a team, but he designs them, doesn't he?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, Jeremy, thank you so much for attending.
No problem at all, guys.
I love you, brother.
So great being here with everybody, and I hope everybody enjoys Scare Package 2.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you.
Rad
Thank
Chad's
you so much
Revenge.
for taking time out of your day to be here with us. It's been awesome listening to you, man.
My pleasure, man. I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
One of these days, maybe I'll be at a con or something.
Nice.
Or getting wings with Brian.
Oh, geez.
Have a good night. Thank you guys so much.
I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Man.
All right.
Have a good night. Thanks.
You too. Bye.